So today you are needing to learn how to dimension your sketches. That's what our assignment will be today. If you log into MyPLTW, your design and modeling, we are under, of course, the lesson, how big is that fish? And now we're at part 2 of dimensioning, which is number 5. We started this a little bit on Friday, so I want you to conclude this and try to get all 3 sketches done. What you will need as far as materials, you'll need a ruler, you will need a dial caliper, and you will need your sketchbook, and that's it, and some isometric paper. So make sure in your design and modeling notebooks, in your engineering notebooks, you have those pages set up for these sketches. So if you look, we're on part 2 of the dimensioning. We're at number 5 on the numbering. If you're looking down underneath all the tutorials, we are ready to sketch out an isometric sketch, dimensioning the sketch that I believe we put it all together on Friday. But you are dimensioning this sketch that they have located in your design and modeling curriculum on MyPLTW. So make sure you have that up and open and while you're sketching at the same time too. So in your engineering notebook, make sure you label at the top which sketch this is and what dimensioning, dimensioning device are you using, or what measuring device you're using. Okay, so the first one, it asks you to measure in using the metric system. So you would be using your centimeter side of your ruler. So make sure that you are ready to dimension, and I have some example sketches for you guys if you need to refer to them. I'll leave them with the substitute. I'll actually tape them up on the board for you to look at to see if you're doing them correctly. So the first sketch, make sure that you have titled, okay, SI or metric. Okay, so what I would do is I'd begin sketching the top view. And if you notice the top view, you're going to be sketching it from the top, and it looks pretty cool with the camera because you can actually see the top view. Now, some of you may ask, do you use the dotted lines for hidden cubes? Yes, you do. You can. Okay. Now, these lines out here, of course, from the dimensioning standards, these lines are your extension lines when you are dimensioning an object. And make sure that you do not touch the object with your dimensioning line or your extension lines. It does not touch the object when you are sketching. Now, you also have what's called the dimension lines, and they're indicated with the arrows, and usually the actual measurement is put in between the dimensioning lines. So when I went to measure my top cube, okay, the top of the cube was about 1.9, so I drew out an extension line and put my dimension lines and put 1.9 in the middle. Then I need to know how far, or what's the length from one side of the object to the other, and I got 3.8. Now, some of your guys' cubes may be a little bit different in size, so be aware of that and make sure that you are starting at the 0 on your metric side. Okay, so then you get your top view. Now you're ready for your front view. Okay, so Here's top. Now this is front. Now notice I put 2 dotted lines because these are hidden. These are hidden cubes. There's cubes behind it. So you need a dimension for one cube, the top cube, okay, which would be this one. And then what would be the length of 2 cubes, okay, going across this way. And I got 3.8 again. And then if you were to measure the distance from the back of the cube to the front of the cube, I got 5.7. Now, as far as your tenths, you may be a tenth off from what I have, but that's what roughly you kind of need to be around kind of the same what I have. Then your right view is you just turn in the object like this. Now, these would be dotted lines. I didn't dot them because there's a cube behind this one and a cube behind that, 2 cubes behind this one. So, what is the height of this object? And then what is the length of 1? So you got the height of 2 and the height of 1. Okay, one object. So you want to dimension the distance between those 2 objects. Okay, so lastly, once you have all this dimension, your top, front, and right, then you're going to draw an isometric of the object and tape it to your notebook. Okay, that's your first assignment, the first assignment. That's number 7. Number 8 says have your teacher check. I'll check later. Number 9, then you're going to get 5 linking cubes. You're going to take off one of these, and then you're going to make the object, and you guys have made this object before, and you're going to make this object, okay? And what you're going to do with this one is you are going to be measuring it in U.S. customary, also known as inches, okay? So, remember, on your ruler, how many little hashes are between the beginning here and 1? Oh, I heard you say 16. Right, that's right, 16. So you're measuring in 16ths, and then you would actually reduce it down if you get to one of the 16ths. Make sure it's reduced. So, draw on the top view. Okay, top view looks pretty simple. And then you have the front view. And then lastly, you have the right side view. And then make sure you're isometric. Sketch. Okay? So make sure your extension lines do not touch the object. Do not touch the object. And make sure that your dimension lines are dimensioned correctly or shown correctly too with arrows. So that's the second drawing that you will be doing. And then the third drawing you will be doing using the same object again as the last one you did, but using dial calipers. Just remember, before you use the dial calipers, make sure it's calibrated to 0. And then this lock here, make sure that you got it at 0 and then lock it in. And when you measure a cube, remember measuring it kind of in the middle, okay, in the middle of the dial caliper. And then you will make sure, let me zoom in here a little bit, make sure that you are reading it all the way to the thousandths, okay? Now, I found that this was 7, and I had it on a different dial caliper earlier, so I was using a different dial caliper, but I shouldn't be far off from what I had. And on this one, I'm measuring from the top view, I'm measuring from here to here. Okay. And if I take off one, I got 7.43, and I had 36 down here. So I needed to do a remeasuring. Now you might do it again to double check. Make sure it's tightened. Make sure this is tight all the way, and then you tighten it, and that's the accurate reading. So this right now looks like 7.744. So I was off on it earlier. And then unscrew this, and now I'm going to be measuring the distance between the two objects. Okay, so let's see if I'm close on this. So I have 1.583, it looks like on this one, and I had down earlier 1.571. So make sure that this is tightened. If you notice, when I let go, when I let go, it actually goes up 2 or 3 hundredths. So make sure you tighten it and get a good reading on it. Now, these distances will also be the same down here, except when, if you notice on our last drawing, you had 3/4 and 1.5, 3/4, 1.5. So when you're going down here to the front view, these figures will be the same, somewhat the same. And then you'll have to measure your top view of your right side view from the bottom of the object to the top of the object, and you'll get a dimension there. Okay, so don't forget drawing an isometric for the dial calipers also. And then when you're all done, this will all be in your notebook, and I'll be able to grade it on Tuesday or look at it on Tuesday with you. But please do this, and then if you get finished early with all of this, here's a challenge. Open up, some of you might open up Google SketchUp on your computers and start kind of teaching yourself a little bit about Google SketchUp, because Google SketchUp is the program that we use to design objects, design anything, which then we can take that file and then 3D print it. So when you get done, go to Google SketchUp if you get done with today's assignment, and I will look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. If you have any questions, just contact me through Edmodo, and I'll try to help you out as much as possible. Have a good day.